Years ago or so. So I've been involved in this project for 9 years. The Air Force has been involved in doing this project for 16 years. So it's a long time coming, and we're pretty excited and think that it's coming to fruition here rapidly. Let me give some background. First of all, I am the acting executive director of MIDA, the Military Installation Development Authority. I'm normally the deputy director and general counsel. When I stood before you back then, we had an executive director who was also here, and he has retired. And we had a new executive director, and then he retired. And so they asked me to act in that capacity. I've done it for a year, and we just adopted our budget, and I'll be doing it for 1 more year. And then probably giving you a new executive director. MIDA, are a statewide authority created to support and develop military land as an economic development entity in Utah. Our big project is at Hill Air Force Base. It's Falcon Hill. It's our aerospace research park of about 500 acres that parallels I-15 from Clearfield up in Davis County up into Roy area up in Weaver County. And we've been working with that for a while. We also did a big major project area. We're involved in a data center that was built in Utah County and Salt Lake County. It straddled both counties, and that was about a $1.5 billion project. And we were involved in the outside infrastructure. And then we became involved in this project when the Air Force asked us to help them figure this out because the Air Force, Hill Air Force Base, lost a chateau, some hotel rooms that they had back before the Olympics came to Utah. And it was at Snow Basin. It was taken away. It was on forest land. They needed it for the downhill races. So they took the land from the Air Force, and then Congress passed a special piece of legislation just for Utah for this specific project, and gave the Air Force a BLM land in Park City, but said that land could be traded for equal value land, and work with the state and private developer and such to figure out how to create this opportunity. At that time, we were looking and focused mainly in Summit County, and then some officials from Wasatch County approached MIDA and the Air Force and said, maybe you ought to take a look and consider our area, and we did, and they went through an RFP process, and anyway, the conclusion was that you have a superior location that somewhere in a ski village would be ideal for this project. The exact site was not known. We just knew that somewhere within about 2,200 acres it would be located. So if you look through this brief agenda that I've proposed, I want to spend most of my time talking about the interlocal agreement, but I wanted you to understand that background. And then I wanted to add one item I forgot to add in number 4 about future things we're doing, is one of you is going to be on the MIDA board. So when we get the donation of property I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, we're going to ask one, it has to be an elected official, and we're going to ask one of you to consider applying and being that and on the MIDA board. We have a position that's been set aside for you. The governor has not reappointed somebody to that position, so the previous acting mayor has been sitting in that position. And so just think about it as who would want to participate that way. It's after the donation, it would happen immediately, and I'll talk about the legislation, but because this is such a significant project, and the Falcon Hill is such a significant project, but we have other smaller projects. The governor is required to rotate the board members if we have more than 3. So the governor appoints 5 people, the Speaker of the House and President of the Senate. Well, of the 5, the governor is supposed to appoint 3 people that are local elected officials that are at or near our project areas. And so one of those 3 positions is the position that you would have. But one of the concerns we have is if we have smaller projects, having people in our major multi-million, billion-dollar projects being rotated off. So we changed the legislation this year so that the Falcon Hill area will have a permanent of the 3, a permanent if we have more than 3, and so will you. So you won't be rotated off. So once you're on the MIDA board, somebody is locally elected here, because it's such a large project, will always be a a voting member of the MIDA board on this whole project. When we worked with you, if you could go to the map, the second page, you designated the yellow area for the MIDA project area, and with one change. This map is older. It hasn't been updated. It'll be updated in the next couple of weeks. But see, I don't really have a pointer. But right here,
We have just a second.
this is the Pioche.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. There's 4 buttons. I pushed up 4, so.
You can't expect an attorney to know how to run that.
Don't point it out. Okay. So right here is the Pioche property, and that also should be yellow. So that would come into the project area. And we have created, MIDA created as part of this process, what we call Part 1 of the Military Recreation Facility project area. And that is the blue ledge parcel right there. And then there's the red maple piece. That's the 26-acre piece in Summit County that was given to the Air Force to either build there or trade. And it's proposed that that is going to be traded for some property that is right here. Now we know that. We did not know that at the time. We created the project area boundaries, and we didn't know, and we didn't have the agreement yet. So in 2012, we entered into an agreement with you to coordinate between the two of us of this large project and what we might do together. And that's what I would like to spend a little bit of time on. To first go to the second map. So if we do the next page, that'd be great. So this is your J-Spa area, and you can see from the other map, a lot of what's shown here, it's not all of it, but a lot of it is in the yellow that will come into the MIDA project area, but some of it will not. So Part 2 is what MIDA board is working on, we've been working on for months and months, is to bring in the property as part of Part 2. We're scheduled for having our meeting on August 2nd. And so it would be this property, which is the Mayflower, and then Mayflower bought this, the Pioche, so Pioche would come in. This is the blue ledge that's already in our project area. And then on the other side of we would have this area, which is Sky Ridge, and then the gimbal piece right here, the Jordanelle View, and then IMH owns these 3 right here. That would come in, and then Deer Cove, and then candidly, I know another property I was interested in coming in right now, and it's Mr. Burbidge. I don't know if he's here. I don't know which property he's somewhere over 17. Okay, well, I break them, so I don't know. I'm sorry. There we go. So it's
There we go.
right there. Okay. So that's likely to come in.
That number 22, that's the JSSD.
Yes. So JSSD owns that, and there's a purchase agreement that has had to be worked out between Deer Valley and Extel about that purchase, so that could come in at a future time. It's not coming in with Part 2, and there would be a Part 3 for the rest of them coming in, or Part 4. So we're not pushing people. When people are ready and they've got their plans organized. But the ones I pointed out are those who have contacted MIDA, and we've been working with many of them for many months to have them come in and get in the project area. So if you go to the next page, here is a summary of the proposed changes to the interlocal agreement. The agreement, and I hope you're going to be pleased, because these are good changes for you, economically and otherwise. Originally, the agreement was called an R-SPA, your study area, and now it's called the J-SPA, and there's more than a name change. There are a few substantive changes to it. But when we did the agreement, it was referred to as the R-SPA, and it references the R-SPA, and so I want to clean that up and bring it up to what you did when you changed it. Revenue to the county. So, and this is a little complicated. but I'm going to give it the overview. So you have different buckets of money of how it works, but basically if you think about it, and I divided it into three, and I think that the three here, the A, B, and C that I have under here are important. And it's Municipal Services Revenue Fund, and then there's the Development Fund, and then there's the hotel itself, the accommodation tax, and how are we going to fund this particular hotel. So under the Municipal Services Revenue Fund, this is the one that you will provide municipal services to this area. And one of the advantages and benefit of having MIDA in your project area is for legal purposes, we're treated like a city. But we can do things a city can do, a county can't do. But because we're there, we're going to do it like a city, but then give you the revenue. So you will have a net gain to you, to your general fund, from MIDA participating by providing these revenues. And they're not insignificant. They will not be insignificant revenues. Specifically the energy tax. So this property area, if they were in Park City, or they were in Heber, or they were in Midway, or what other cities in Utah, will be subject to a 6% energy tax on their gas and electric. And so MIDA will charge that. And also the hotels will be subject to a 1% transit room tax. Municipal, you have your transit room tax, which will be subject to the hotels outside of the MIDA hotel. But in addition to that, a municipality has a transit room tax. MIDA can charge that, and that goes into the Municipal Services Fund. And then the property taxes that are not taken for the Development Fund, which we'll talk about in a minute, that is your taxes, the 25% comes back to MIDA, and that goes into the Municipal Services Fund. And then there's a telephone tax that's about 4% or 3.5% municipalities can do, that we will do, and that will go into that fund also. And then under our agreement, we are going to, MIDA, we are a small organization. We are not a city. We don't want to create staff. We have never for any of our projects. We up in Falcon Hill, we contract with Clearfield to provide all of our municipal services, police and fire and all of that sort of thing. So MIDA collects the money and then we pay it. Well, that was our understanding, that's our agreement, and we are affirming that agreement with you. That we will pay these monies to you, and then you will provide the municipal services. Something that's come up, and I just want to be clear about, and we're willing, and I bring it up in this thing to make it even clearer, is that what your obligation is to provide municipal services like you do in the rest of the county to this area. You do not have to account to MIDA how you spend this money. If you want to use it for, you need to raise people's salaries or hire more people or whatever, you don't have to account to MIDA or anybody, because we're just saying, here's money that's expected to be used for municipal services. You figured out, you're the local elected officials, what services to provide. The only thing the agreement says is that you won't discriminate against this property. You will treat them the same as you treat the rest of the county. You're providing the same level of services. You'll patch the roads and you'll remove the snow, and if they dial 911, you're going to show up and that sort of thing. But I want you to understand that we have a philosophy of trusting the local people to figure out what that is, and you'll go into your general fund and you provide services however you think best.
Well, how will we calculate the amount of revenue coming for our essential services such as fire and EMS and law enforcement? Is that going to be on like a tax rate, or?
Yeah, so each one of these are different taxes, so we're going to be able to, we think we can give you projections. We use the same financial advisor you do, Lewis & Young, that was just at the microphone here, and they've done an enormous amount of work on this and doing the calculations. But we're waiting for the dust to settle a little bit, because different people have bought certain property, and what was proposed before is things have changed. And for example, the Pioche, Wells Fargo had a certain idea what they were going to do on that. Extel now owns Pioche. They want less density than what Wells Fargo had thought there would be, and so because they want to focus on the village, they're going to do something different on the Pioche property with the Blue Ledge property. So as that dust settles, we're going to be able to make better projections and provide those to you. But we've got all the formulas calculated and figured out. But each time we think it might be there, then somebody buys property or changes their So we want to give as accurate as
Do we have
possible.
any say in that formula?
Well, you get all of it, we're just going to give it all to you.
Oh,
You just gonna,
okay. Maybe your formula is not adequate to cover the actual costs.
well, we hope it is, because you will net, if MIDA wasn't here, you wouldn't get as much money as you otherwise will get. So it'll be more than you get from other unincorporated county areas. So whatever it is more, because we're going to give you the 6% energy tax. So if you think about all the condos and the hotels and all that, and the hotels are going to pay an energy bill, and they're going to have a 6% MIDA tax on it. And we'll pay
require
that.
more services because it's developed now, where before that was just unincorporated county was.
Well, what I'm saying is any development you have where you have to put whatever taxes you provide, you can't do those taxes, and so we're doing it and then giving it to you. So it'll be higher than what a developed area could
Yeah,
have.
we charge for it off.
Isn't the same.
Right, do we charge the same impact fees?
That's what I'm.
Not in the MIDA control area, but in the county control area, we would, right?
Yeah,
We are not land use authority in the MIDA control area.
and I'm right. And the next map will show you the MIDA control area is quite small. So most of that, the map of the yellow is
Yeah,
your.
that's where the confusion is. I think we charge impact fees outside the actual MIDA control area, the two parcels, the Blue Ledge and the Red Maple, whatever you trade.
Yeah. So if you could go back one map.
The way I understand the agreement, though, the municipal services funds are only limited to the municipal services the county provides, which right now is animal control, roads, and sheriff's office. Flyers is by SSD.
And so is,
So it'll still operate
and so
the
is
same way.
water, sewer,
Right, and garbage and all that.
everything else. Garbage.
Correct. So
A lot of things that are traditional municipal services in Wasatch County are done by special service district. So the special service district operates the same way in the MIDA control area as it does in the rest of the county.
that is correct. So at the same time we entered into our interlocal with you, we entered into an interlocal with your solid waste district, JSSD, and the fire district. And they all say the same thing. Treat this property the same, charge the same sort of fees and impact fees you would charge them like you charge anybody else, and provide services to them. But we're not, they're going to charge their impact fees and whatever. With you, we're collecting money and giving it to you. We're not giving them money. They're going to do it the way they normally do, JSSD. But you get the municipal services revenue.
So the municipal services revenue we put in challenge with our sheriff roads.
And we understood that because that's why we did 4 agreements. We understood that yours is the police, the roads, animal control.
And then
If you have
Parks and
ordinance
Rec.
enforcement.
Is Parks and Rec compliant? I mean, it's
It's
countywide.
countywide district, but
But I don't know.
Is there permanent residence?
They did do an interlocal with Park and Rec.
At the time we did it, I don't know, we were told, we were given those 4 districts, and I worked with each of the legal counsel for those districts, and
might have to clarify that, just because it is a countywide district, they need to be subject.
if we need one, we'd be glad to do another interlocal. We just went on the list we were given.
And Paul, do we get municipal service on all of it, or just off the project area?
The project area, not the Jason.
The 2 parcels, you're...
No. Go back a minute. All the yellow, all of it.
All the yellow.
All 2,200 acres.
Okay.
Yes. So the condos and things over here, these homes will pay the 6%. There's proposed 4 hotels. Our hotel is a special hotel, I'll talk in a second, but the 3 other hotels and whatever, they will all be paying those same taxes and fees and such. And so we'll take this whole area and we will write you a check and give it to you. When we collect it, some of them come in monthly, some of it's annual, but that's what our agreement is. I'm telling you, we're going to abide by the agreement. I think it works great. We don't want to be in the municipal services business. That's not a philosophy. Our board is strong. Keep not MIDA leaning mean. Don't replicate what a county or city can do. Contract with them. We're doing that in fact. We contract with the other entities to provide.
That was 400 room.
350, 375.
That's the military line.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, that's the number 3 that I'm gonna come to, and I want to talk to you about that one specifically because it creates its own challenges in financing, but I just want you to be aware of this one. But the second benefit, what I'm suggesting to you is, in that agreement, MIDA does have, even though we're small, we have some operating costs. And so it allows us to take our operating costs, some of our operating costs, and take it out of your municipal services fund. So there's going to be millions of dollars over time, and it has a kind of a limit of 400,000, and it has a formula. But what we think with the change in the legislation to help us pay for the hotel and help the hotel happen, that will make enough for us to keep operating out of the hotel itself. So we're not anticipating that we're going to need that money. So it's a net gain to you. You already had a positive gain because of MIDA's participation, but we're suggesting that with this change, we don't think we're going to need to tap into any of
What
it.
changes that in the legislation?
So that's, I'll go to it now. Okay. That's number 3. That's my third one.
One question first. You mentioned, did I understand you correctly, you mentioned like another layer of transient room tax where there's an additional?
A municipal transient room tax.
Municipal.
Cities have their own, you have yours, throughout the state of Utah.
Right.
St. George to Logan have a 1% transient room tax.
And so
Beaver probably has it midway.
my question or my thought, which I was thinking about that, is would that come to us in a bucket with these other municipal funds, or would it be broken out as a transient room tax? And would it be subject to the state code about how the percentages of that transient?
It's going to be put in with the rest, and you figure out how you want to spend it.
I thought the transient room, sorry, but I thought the transient room is paid directly to the state, and the state gives it to the county.
Yeah, so the municipal transit room is discretionary,
It's different.
but the county transit room has certain stipulations.
But does it go to the state?
Yes.
Even the municipal?
Yes, they'll collect it. Same with
Same
the
tax on it.
Gotcha.
same with the other tax I'm about to describe. State Tax Commission is going to collect it. They pay it to MIDA. The MIDA will turn around and pay it to you.
Really quick, do you have a real quick comment?
Well, it's kind of sorted itself out, but as a municipality, we get the same money that he's saying you'll now get, but we can't operate our roads and all those other services now. We use the impact fee for a lot of the infrastructure, roads, sewer, and water. We don't have the SSDs the county does, so they'll be a part. But I just wanted to clarify or make sure you're looking at, we operate a lot of that within our city out of impact fees. It's just, we could not function without the impact fees. So what it's worth.
How do you use impact fees for operation and maintenance? Because impact fee is usually for
It's infrastructure, it's roads, it's the capital.
Yeah, but it's,
Just development, not maintaining it.
Right, but that's why they're behind the 8 ball.
yeah, okay.
But Matt's
Yeah. Well, that's why there's some motivation to keep the ball rolling, that's just.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't affect your impact fees. You charge whatever you charge. SSD charge, or JSSD charge,
Well,
whatever
we
it charges.
rules on how we charge the,
Yeah, right, but MIDA does not impact that.
Correct.
We only positively impact in the financial way because we know that they need municipal services. What I just described is what we do up at Falcon Hill. We're already doing it. We collect these, we know how to collect them, we pay them out, so we understand the mechanism here. This is not new to us, we've been doing it for a while. Okay, the development fund, and I don't want to take too much of your time, the development fund, but the last point I was trying to make on municipal services is we think there might be an opportunity where we don't take any of your municipal services for our, if it works out the way we hope, we won't need any of them for our services.
that's your last
Our
sentence.
operations. That's my last sentence.
Yes.
So, two good things I think there. The development fund, this hasn't changed from our agreement, the concept of it, which is 75% of the property taxes for 25 years. The 0.5% sales tax that a city normally charges, we're going to be able to charge. And then the resort community tax, like Park City charges the 1.1%. So basically between the sales tax and the resort community tax is 1.6%. So that, along with the property tax, 75% for 25 years goes into the development fund. Under our agreement with you, we said, okay, other than in our MIDA control area, which is a very small area, you decide how we divided that into a 30-70 split. 30% of it is going to be reimbursed by MIDA to the land owners for their infrastructure investments. They will show that they spent this much on curb gutter, sidewalk, sewer, whatever, and then they get reimbursed at 30%. But the other 70% goes into the pot that you have prioritized in the past. You had IBI do a study, you had Lewis and Young price things, and I know that needs